Hi, friends, and welcome to the May 27th, 2023 edition of the Astro Energy Astrology Show podcast with me, Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I want to welcome you to the podcast this week. I'm just looking at the recording here. I don't even think I look the same twice from one week to the next. Who knew? Anyway, we're going to go over just some things I've been thinking about with the zodiac and things I want to touch on. We have kind of a light week as far as, intensity. There are no planets that are majorly shifting signs or going retrograde this week. There are interactions, but they're not enormous. And, as the planets transit, right now Pluto is still retrograding. It's at the first degree of Aquarius, and that makes it still pretty intense. It's going back in early June. So I think it's June 6th, June 11th. So June 11th, Pluto gets back to Capricorn. And Venus actually goes into Leo early June as well, around the 8th. Anyway, but other than that, this week I'm looking over my ephemeris and my daily planner, which, if you wondered, this is the one I use. Let me see if I can get it up for you. There. Llewellyn's Daily Planetary Guide, that. So this week I wanted to go over what the planets are kind of triggering each individual planet as it is in its position in the sky right now. And starting off with the sun in Gemini. Sun is our ego, our sense of self. It is how others see us. And it's our place in the spotlight, our place in the sun. It's currently in Gemini, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is in the sign of Taurus, which means that the sun in Gemini answers to Mercury in Taurus. And so it is a little bit more of a sedate sun, so to speak, at this time. Mercury is direct, and that means he is going forward all the way through the sign of Taurus for the next couple weeks. You can guess he's going about a degree a day. So we're about 3 weeks away from him changing signs into Gemini, which is where he is very happy because Gemini is his own sign. Sun in Gemini expands our communicative side. It is a very social sign. It's a chatty sign. It makes us aware of where we need to express ourselves. Usually that's through words. It can be lyrics of music. It can be through ideas because it is an air sign. And it is also where we give information to other people. The sign of Gemini has a reputation, I think, along with Virgo. Being a Virgo, I can say this. We both have a reputation as being a know-it-all. And that's because so much information, electrical energy imparts information. And so much information is dropped in the heads of people who are ruled by Mercury and also Uranus. So there's just this ongoing electrical awareness of ideas, of thoughts, of what's coming in an electrical sense. Because Uranus and Mercury are so closely linked to electrical transmission, the brain synapses are heightened, and the neurological system in the body is on high alert when these energies are in their own sign or when another planet transits their sign. We really get heightened awareness of information, ideas, knowledge, wisdom. So when we have the sun in Gemini, it shows us where we can connect, what we need to communicate, what we need to teach, what we need to learn. It brings to our awareness a desire for writing, a desire for reading, for teaching and learning. So it's also the sign of transportation and short distance travel, small pets. And so we see issues come about with the Gemini energy. So we can have transportation issues. We can have transportation issues. We may have situations happening with pets. I know today my daughter's dog is getting neutered. So that's kind of on the minds of everybody in the family. It was my sister's birthday week. Her birthday was on 2 days ago. And so she traveled, which of course is part of the energy of Gemini. She did long distance traveling, which is interesting because that's ruled by Jupiter, but we'll get to that in a minute. So the sun is really an awareness of what we need to impart to others. And that's what gives it that energy of know-it-allness, because they really do know a lot. There are very few Geminis and Virgos and Aquarians who aren't extremely aware and extremely verbal. Uh, Even though Virgo's an earth sign, it is a very chatty sign. Currently, for the next 3 weeks, we'll be seeing a lot of that energy. We'll be seeing transportation issues come up and all the things I said. So really, Sun in Gemini is shining a light on all our Gemini friends who are having birthdays this month. A more difficult side of Mercury energy with Gemini and the Sun being there is that we may feel misunderstood. We may feel nobody listens to us. We may feel we have something to say, but are thwarted by it. Difficulty with technology, because technology is very much a modality of Gemini, Virgo, and Uranus, and Aquarius, Mercury. So we can see technological glitches if there are squares, and currently there are. Saturn is at 6 degrees of Pisces squaring the sun right now. And for the next couple days, we're going to have that square approaching an exact. And then for a couple days after, it will be moving away, but will still be an exact square, technically, within an 8-degree orb either side, which means 8 degrees on either side. We have these energies that are brought in to help us grow. And a Saturn square sun or any other early degree Gemini or Sagittarius planet will definitely bring about growing and learning opportunities. As opposed to, like, say, a quincunx, which is 150 degrees, that can bring just like general irritability and distaste for the energy going through at that time. Okay, moon. Let's talk about the moon. The moon changes signs quicker than any other body in the heavens, and it changes signs every approximate 2.5 days. Currently in this chart, the moon is at 13 degrees of Leo. Earlier in the day, when I was looking at the chart, it was at 2 degrees conjunct Mars, and that is exactly my Venus. So I was really having this wonderful energy because it's in the middle of my chart at the midheaven, which can be, getting more attention or being in that kind of spotlight energy. But moon changes signs so quickly that those who are ruled by the moon, which are the Cancerians of the zodiac, or anybody with maybe moon natally in their first house, they have a strong connection to the moon energy, and quickness of mood or change of mood may be more apparent with those people. I am one of those. I have moon in Scorpio in my first house. So the moon in Leo, whichever sign the moon is in, it really enhances the emotional bondedness to that energy. And the family kind of takes on an energy of that particular sign. So moon is home and hearth and mothers in domestic things, systems, and such. And Leo is children, creativity, being in the spotlight, being an authority figure, taking risks, romance. All of these things are kind of seen around the home energy, so that we're maybe more focused on kids and kid issues at this time, child issues, maybe thinking about having kids, maybe that desire is stronger to connect and bond with our children, or children have something going on that draws our attention. Creativity is heightened because Leo is a very creative sign. It tends to like glass crafts and like glass blowing, stained glass, things like that. It is also a sign that I personally assign to graphic designers and marketing, because they're really good being in the spotlight and coming up with the drama of an advertisement, and also that drama can be translated into a graphic modality or medium within the art spectrum. And so a lot of graphic designers have strong Leo. It can also bring animators and anime, because Leo is more of a childlike energy. And so they resonate to cartoons and more of a caricature as portraiture. So having somebody draw your character, a cartoon version of you. So Leo is expressive in these ways. And then also drama, of course, acting. And I think that Leo is also dancing energy. I really feel the joyous expression of dance really comes through with the Leo energy. The moon, and now currently Mars also, maybe we'll just jump to Mars as well and then go back to Venus. Moon in Leo means that for a couple days, we're going to really feel this energy around nurturing, and we'll feel like maybe our childlike nature is coming out. Our inner child needs to be really tended to. And then Mars is a youthful Aries energy, which again is the first sign of the zodiac. It is the sign that brings in newborn children. So we have kind of a very youthful light. Leo is the middle fire sign, where Aries is the first fire sign and Sag is the last fire sign. So Leo is more of the middle years, and it can be youthful, say, in a teen sense, whereas Mars is much more the first 10 years of life, and that kind of raw energy and drive to create something and just learn and grow and be very quick and fast. I want this and I want it now. If I don't get it now, I throw tantrums. And so in Leo, this could be like the energy of bosses and those in charge, which again, Leo is leadership. Bosses may feel like it has to happen now. You got to do it and accomplish it now. And I need this creative thing done immediately, because there's no patience to wait with Mars. And being in fire sign, fire planet and fire sign, it's going to want to go quickly. What is thwarting Mars at 2 degrees and the moon earlier in the day and late yesterday? Jupiter squaring it in Taurus, because Taurus is a very slow. The icon I have in my mind, that is archetype that I've learned from a long time ago, is the bull out in the field plodding down the well-worn path. He knows the path and the trail leads to the same place every time. He stands in the field just chewing the grass or walking down the path, and it's very traditional, it's very conservative and slow moving. This is not a fast energy, and Jupiter is a fire planet now in a slow moving energy, along with many other entities in the sky. I'll just list them. Jupiter, North Node, Mercury, Vesta, the asteroid of home and hearth, Uranus at 19 Taurus. All of these energies are really slowing us down so we can decide thoughtfully what to do. But Mars in Leo, that keeps us moving forward for the duration in Leo. I believe he moves into Virgo fairly soon, like within a month. I will tell you what that is. It's right around July 11th. So he's got about 6 or 7 weeks left in the sign of Leo. He just got there not long ago. He's only at 2 degrees, but he'll be there for about 7 weeks. So when you take into account how long Mars was in Gemini, that was 7 months, kind of gives you an idea of how long that energy stuck around in the zodiac, when normally it does not, Mars does not stay in a sign that long. So while Mars is in Leo, it will bring out our creative side, our attention to children, and our romantic side, as well as the idea of taking risks. Venus currently is in Cancer. She's at 19 degrees Cancer. And so she moves a little quicker than Mars, but a little slower than Mercury. And so because her place in the solar system is farther out than Mercury, I believe she's the 4th planet from the sun. Mercury, let's see, we're 3rd. Mercury is just inside our orbit. So Mercury, Earth, Venus. And Venus will take a little bit longer than Mercury to change signs unless she's retrograding. And in Cancer, she's going to take her time going through Cancer a little bit quicker than Mars, but slower than Mercury, as I've beaten to death right now. Okay, so Venus in Cancer is highlighting the energy of mom as a person, as an energy. And so really with the moon in Leo for the next day or so while I'm recording this, and Venus in Cancer, which of course the moon was also in Cancer in the last couple of days before this, before he was in Leo, it's really focusing on family things, family get-togethers, family celebrations. I know somebody strongly Cancer ruled who was doing graduation events. My family was doing birthday events and vacation. It's that time of year. Cancer is also the ruling sign of our country. And that energy is, I think, right around, I'm not exactly sure, like 11 to 13 degrees of Cancer. And so Venus just went past that energy as well, which highlighted America in the world spotlight, possibly also England, because, having the sun in Cancer, and we broke away from England at the time we created our country, which always connects us to England as well. So there's always, in the summer, there's America-England connection with Cancer. And I think England is rather Capricornian, very traditional, as we all know. So Venus, goddess of love and beauty, she rules the realms of love, fashion, beauty, makeup. It's also artistic. It's musical and lyrical. Venus rules the sign of Taurus. So there is synonymous energy going back and forth with Taurus and Venus. I always say when you're learning astrology, if you learn the zodiac signs and the ruler of it, you only have to learn one or the other. Either learn the planet and what rules the planet and then which signs it rules. And you don't have to learn everything twice. You just learn the archetype of the planet or learn the archetype of the sign that is ruled by the planet, and you will know the energy of the planet as well as the sign. So they are, the sign and the ruler mean the same thing. So Venus does rule love and beauty and money because she is the ruler of Taurus, which is an earth sign, a material sign, and it is how we express our value on the material plane. Anyway, so when Venus transits a sign, she brings beauty, she brings love, she brings interest in things that are aesthetic as well as tactile. She enjoys cooking. In Cancer, which is a cooperative energy, only 60 degrees away from Cancer is Taurus, and that's her ruling sign. So they are cooperative. 60 degrees is a very cooperative energy. Taurus is great with cooking and food. Cancer rules the home and hearth and the stove and the kitchen and the cooking. So Taurus, Venus, Cancer, Moon, all of it is very cooperative for feminine and home energy. If you are a man with these signs strong in your chart, you may also enjoy cooking and more of a domestic expression, especially if you have Saturn in Cancer or Saturn in Taurus, because both are feminine signs by energy. And if you don't know the feminine masculine signs, Aries, it's alternating signs all the way around. Aries is masculine, Taurus feminine, Gemini masculine, Cancer feminine, Leo masculine, Virgo feminine, Libra masculine, Scorpio feminine, Sagittarius masculine, Capricorn feminine, Aquarius masculine, Pisces feminine. The energies, if you learn the overarching systems, so elements, modalities, and masculine, feminine, the rulership, all of this comes together to give you a fleshed out view of the nuances of energy and behaviors that go along with astrology. So Venus is where our feminine desire is. For a man's chart, it also means it's the kind of woman you're looking for. In anyone's chart, it can represent mother, it can represent sister or a female friend, it can represent a female coworker, any feminine that comes into your life. Depending on other positions of signs and placement in your chart, for where Venus is, it represents other things as well. Say Venus is in the third house for you. That means she really loves talking and she really loves education. And the energy of Venus connected to Gemini is going to mean that she has a desire to communicate a truth. And it could also bring a desire to be a teacher, especially for elementary children. Anyway, Venus in Cancer is going to be the archetype of the mom, the mother, and the home. And so we have that for, like I said, a few weeks until she goes into Leo. And when she moves into Leo, she'll kind of stand in the pinnacle of her gorgeousness, like Venus on the half shell. Just everybody knows she's there. I mean, my hair is very Leonine today, and I have Venus and Leo and Mars and Moon transiting right now. So, of course, today my desire was to have bigger Leonine hair, but it was very subconscious. I didn't even think about it until this moment, but it's very true. You know, you have that mane of hair and Leo influenced people definitely have hair as kind of a primary identifier in the public eye. Venus in Cancer is more quiet. She wants to be around the home. She may enjoy sweet things. She may enjoy cooking. My mother has a ton of Cancer, which kicks her over to Capricorn, and she is not a fan of cooking. She is much better with finance and tangible goods and running the household like a military camp, and a little bit OCD, which is a very Capricornian thing. So when you have 4 or more planets in a sign, it really kicks the energy over to the other side of the chart. But anyway, getting back to our Venus in Cancer, she is a very lovely energy, generally nurturing, likes to connect on an emotional level and talk about your feelings. She will nurture you through food, and she will sew your clothing, repair anything you need. She may even be very well versed in handiwork around the home. She's domestic to the nth degree. And even my mother, who acts more Capricornian, is good at sewing and decorating, which are also under the Cancerian umbrella. Okay, so moving on, we're going to go over to Mercury. I didn't really touch on Mercury. Mercury actually comes between the Sun and Venus. So Mercury is in Taurus, and Mercury is, again, thoughts, communications, electrical energy. In Taurus, it's going to be about technological aspects of money, so teller machines, doing business online, retail, doing swipe cards, technological influence of money, so cryptocurrency, plastic cards for money, anything like that, very mercurial. Also, communications are more thoughtful. We take more time to decide something. We want to really go over and over it. Mercury was retrograde in Taurus, and that meant that we had some issues coming up around love, money, material goods, beauty, fashion, all the things I've always mentioned. And having to really go back over where we were with it, what we think of it. Again, Mercury, even though Mercury's in Taurus, it is more duplicity energy. It is 2 of something because it rules the twins. It also rules Virgo, which is the Virgin. So Mercury is not only kind of a flirt with 2 different people and can bring in more than one person in love, but also can be very alone energy and appreciate the alone time, which is the Virgo side of the nature. In Taurus, probably more of the Virgo energy is triggered or more comfortable for Virgo, but they are analogous, meaning Mercury is next to Gemini in the zodiac, currently in Taurus. Taurus is next to Gemini, and Mercury is in the sign next to his own natural sign of Gemini. And that isn't necessarily a comfortable energy, that is inconjunct. And so there may be issues that come up that are in the material world not as comfortable with this influence of Mercury in Taurus. For Gemini or maybe Sagittarius, the energies that are at odds. Scorpio might be influenced a little bit, but opposites can be synergistic and work together. One makes up for what the other lacks, or they can be at odds. In their ego, they are at odds. In their spirit and higher energy, they work together in combination, like yin and yang. So Scorpio right now, you've got a lot of Leo energy squaring your Scorpio energy, and you have a lot of Taurus energy opposing your energy. That also goes for Aquarius, opposing Leo and squaring Taurus. So right now, Scorpio, Aquarians are having a little bit more of a difficult time with the energy. Also Taurus and Leo. So the fixed signs, because that's where the focus of the planetary energy is currently in the sky. Okay, moving on before this becomes another hour podcast. Jupiter. Jupiter is expanding our awareness, giving us opportunities for transformation. It does rule musicians. The energy coming in of Jupiter and Taurus actually took out an icon that I have always admired, which was Tina Turner. I am a Buddhist, as I have said many times, and Tina was a Buddhist in the same practice I particularly have, which is Nichiren Buddhism, and it's a Japanese Buddhism. So if you're interested, I'm just going to put in a little information. It is SGI-USA USA.org if you're interested in finding more out about Nichiren Buddhism. It is an amazing peace-centered and karma-centered practice of Buddhism. And that means that we can change our karma through chanting. And we chant the phrase Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, which is a phrase that means dedication to the law of cause and effect through sound. By saying out loud Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, you recognize cause and effect as the ultimate law of the universe, and that is physics. Cause and effect is physics. So, if you're interested in finding out more, we hold as an organization, it's a lay organization, which means the people who practice are the ones who run the organization, not a priesthood. Anyway, if you are interested in finding out more about this practice, go to SGI-USA.org and you can find out more. We hold a seat on the United Nations, so I find that really amazing. And the head of the organization, who is retired now, but President Takeda, has been an amazing figurehead all over the world for education and peace. And every year he comes out with a peace proposal that he presents to the United Nations. So it's just a really wonderful practice that helps you raise your life condition, see situations from a broader perspective, and really get a grip on problems. So if you're interested, like I said, check it out. I'll put the information in a link below. Go in peace, Tina Turner. And maybe I'll do her chart. I don't have the time she died, and I don't have the time she was born, but I can do a sun chart for both of those events. And maybe we'll do that next week. But Jupiter is musicians in a brand new sign, which rules the body. Taurus rules the body. And so Jupiter is travel, higher education, higher spiritual growth and understanding. It rules over comedians, musicians, and athletes. And it's also education, travel, and real estate. So all of these things can come in your world right now. Jupiter and Taurus may mean that you're going to buy a new piece of property, or you're looking to move, which is actually the case for me. And it is an energy that changes our lives in our physical form, or it can change how we look at money, how we look at love, and how we look at our own personal value in the world. Like, what are our values that we live by personally, as opposed to as a collective, which may be more Scorpion. Okay, Saturn in Pisces. Right now, Saturn in Pisces is really giving us an awakening to our spiritual side. It is a growth energy, which means that there is karma involved. We are looking to expand our understanding and our responsibility for our belief systems, our imagination, our vision for what we want our lives to be before the end of life, because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. And that means it's wrapping up energy, it's wrapping up storylines. It is very karmic. The karmic signs, I think, mostly are Capricorn and Pisces. They both deal strongly with how we look at karma. Capricorn deals with how we look at karma through physical, tangible means, the physical effects of our actions. And that's why it can be a little bit more difficult to process through that energy. And Saturn rules Capricorn, so Saturn's bringing the energy of material cause and effect, or instant karma, or karma, to our awareness. And Pisces is the dream. So that means Saturn is showing us our dream, showing us where we are lacking in the progress of our dream. And currently I am in my Saturn return, and that means that I am much more aware of the kind of energy I'm creating in my life towards the last part of my life. It means that as a collective, we are really focused on expanding our understanding of emotion, of psychic phenomenon, of the ethers, of spirituality, things that are not as tangible. We are trying to understand them in a material way, or we are taking sincere effort to learn more about things that seem strange, weird, woo-woo, unusual, phenomena, and ethereal energy. How do things work? This has always been a pathway of mine in my lifetime to try and understand the true nature of life. If you are personally interested in finding out more, one of the books, and this is not an easy read, but I'm going to give it to you because it was a book I had for 20 years before I actually was ready to read it. And when I read it, I couldn't get enough of all of the works by this author. And the book is called Seth Speaks by Jane Roberts, Jane Roberts, and it's SETH Speaks. And Seth is a channeled entity of the author. The actual dictated channeling is awakening and eye-opening. And it really is like pulling back the curtain to reality and to life and understanding why we're here and what it's all about in ways that we don't being in the physical plane. So it's a really good book if you're interested in that. It's really kind of a jumping off point if you're looking to grow your spiritual practice. What comes after Saturn is Uranus. Uranus is currently in Taurus, and Uranus, again, is actually the planet that is really good at channeling energy because it's Mercury on steroids. It is a higher octave of the energy of Mercury, which means that whatever Mercury thinks about and worries about and runs around in the little hamster wheel in our brain, Uranus gets instantaneous downloads, and Mercury rules electronics, technology, systems of electronics, and Uranus rules the electrical grid. It rules the internet. It rules larger electrical systems. So if you understand like lightning versus plugging something in, that's the difference between Mercury and Uranus. So having that intense amount, quantity, sheer volume of energy and awareness and information downloading is very strong energy for channeling. So channeling is the ability to understand something from the ethers, from something outside yourself, and you just know. And that creates something called claircognizance, which is one of the things I am. I actually have Uranus not far from my sun in Virgo, which is naturally ruled by Mercury. So my Uranus answers to Mercury, which is a lot of energy, and it's in my Aquarius house. I do have this really strong energy of Aquarius knowingness coming into my chart, as well as it rules astrology. So, I have like this lifelong love and passion for astrology. And if you've got a strong Aquarius Uranus in your chart, that may be you as well. Uranus and Taurus means that the information coming in is specifically focused on Taurian endeavors. So unusual is one of the phrases and words that used to describe Aquarius and Uranus. So Uranus and Taurus means fashion may be alternative, much more so than normal. Makeup may take a turn. Lyrics might be much more succinct and more like lightning in a bottle, cutting to the heart of the matter. And it can be a bit political, I think, as well. Anything Aquarian and Taurian blended together, unusual ways of eating or types of food, or people who have a new take on food, a new take on money, and means, Elon Musk definitely with his mentality, I think he has strong Aquarius in his chart, definitely turning out to be not my favorite person lately, but he did buy Twitter, which is very much like purchasing a very large platform that makes money, and it's technological, all part of Uranus in Taurus. Taurus can be very grounded and practical. Uranus is don't make me be restricted. So it is a difficult combination, but we're learning how to work together with this energy. Now we move on to Neptune. And Neptune is in last degrees of Pisces, which Neptune rules Pisces. So the Pisces area of our charts is being triggered, and that is the subliminal and subconscious area of our chart. It is photography, film, movies, imagination, the arts. It is anything that we can't pin down, things that are unexplainable. It can be ghosts, but it's more ethereal energy. It is the wise one, the sage on the mountaintop. It is Buddhist energy. It is anything that is unexplainable, imaginative, creative, all of the things that make the world not material, but unexplainable and mystical and magical, in my opinion. And so Saturn at early degrees Pisces, Neptune at late degrees Pisces really give us pause to enhance our imagination, our vision for our lives, and really, really, really release materiality and need tos, should haves. It is letting go of expectations. It breaks down barriers. It rules water. It is Triton, King Triton. It is Neptune, the god of the oceans. So it gets to us through our emotions. And we see a lot of that energy coming in. The way I see it in society is a lot of vintage clothing is getting popular, reusing, recycling, very Neptunian. We appreciate vintage. We appreciate old buildings. We appreciate tradition in a sense of information coming through and storytelling coming through. It is archival. It is genealogical. And again, it's film. So there may be more of a sentimental mood coming into the movies, maybe a bit less of the hyper machismo that has been really popular for a long time, in my view. It's going to be much more about storyline, about tugging at our heartstrings, about us feeling something that we can't quite explain, maybe pursuing spiritual endeavors and spiritual medium. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a rise again in like the spiritualist churches and channeling entities and things like that as Saturn kind of goes through these degrees and then gets closer to Neptune over the course of the next couple of years. Saturn on Neptune is absolutely going to give us an awakening to the responsibility we have for the oceans, for our own spiritual growth and wisdom and knowledge and connectedness to the collective, because that's what Pisces does and Neptune does. It collectively connects us. Say that 3 times fast. Okay, and finally, Pluto, the maligned planet. I still consider a planet because it is the ruler of my Scorpio rising and my planets in that house. And it is the most potent energy that we currently observe, in my opinion, as astrologers. Pluto, major changes in our lives, going through Aquarius, which is the sign of change. So you have the sign of change being triggered by the planet of life and death change. This is when we can no longer take it and we make the change because we can't continue on the way we did until now. So what does Pluto and Aquarius mean? First off, we just got it triggered at the beginning of this year. Pluto went into Aquarius early this year. So really for the first few months of this year, we have been seeing what Pluto and Aquarius can do. It's giving us more pause with our mental health. It is awakening us, the woke mentality, which, I don't mind it, but some people have a problem with it. But we are awakening. And it means that things are becoming much clearer. Aquarius, it is eccentric seeming. It is the absent-minded professor. It is the energy of autism. It is the energy, like I said, of astrology and awareness, clarity, claircognizance, channeled energy. It's all coming in on us. And we are raising our vibration. And Pluto is in the bottom of the depths. So we're going from the bottom of the depths to the highest of the heights in one energy. And it meets here on the material plane. So Pluto is showing us our value as a collective, because that's what Pluto does. It shows how other people see us as valuable and how we perceive other people seeing our value. It is, as a collective, Aquarius is humanitarian and environmental. It wants everybody to start out on a level playing field and have their own personal autonomy, which means we have to take ownership of our karma, of our own lives, of our storyline, and we have to let go of the codependence to a degree of Pluto and Capricorn, where we feel responsible for everyone around us because that storyline has been fed to us that we are our brother's keeper. And of course, we should be responsible for the people that we love and in our environment to some extent in an exchange of energy. But ultimately, we are in the grounded energy of the self first, and then the environment ripples out from that energy. So Pluto is really showing us the ripples we have in the collective. And it shows up through things where we can no longer live our lives the way we have always lived. We have to make a change. We are compelled to make a change and impelled to make that change. So wherever Pluto is in the Aquarius energy in your chart, you are being asked to make a change. Even more specifically now that Pluto is opposite Mars and is square to Jupiter. That is the material world, the shift, the transformation, taking action, understanding the creative nature, and bringing in the tangible shift that needs to happen to make the next part of our lives happen. It is fixed. It's not going to be easy. We're going to resist, but the nodes of fate at 0, well, coming up on 0 Taurus and 0 Scorpio, they're really going to make this change happen. This is a year we will look back and say 2023 is when I changed my life in this way. So with that being said, thank you for joining me. It's been a long show, but I hope you endured to the end and got a lot out of it. Please do like, comment, share, and subscribe. And have a great week. We'll see you later. Take care. Bye.
Baby, I like you raw. I like you raw. I like you raw. I like you raw. Shimmy, shimmy out, shimmy in, shimmy a. Give me the mic so I can take it away. Up on a natural charge, boom barrage. Yeah, from the home of the Dodger Brooklyn squad. With 10 killer bees on the swarm. Rain on your dollar ass disco dome. You didn't even touch my skill. Gotta have 1 killer bee and he ain't gonna kill him. Jot that down, pass it all around. Lyrics get hard, quick cement to the ground. NENC and then your 52 states. I get psycho killer, Norman Bates. I produce a slam. I was like, damn, jump on stage, I did that.
Mercury in
Hi, this is Shelley. Thank you for joining us this week. To contact me for a private reading, go to angeliczodiac.com under the Readings tab. To purchase my ebook, Learn Astrology, you can find it at angeliczodiac.com. Background music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. Be sure to check back next week and subscribe through iTunes at Astro Energy Astrology Show.